Today we're going to be going over the TCG ban list in a new style of video, as I'd rather not go over the ban list page or on their Twitter account. Now, for this ban list, it came out today at 12:54 p or a.m. when I was at work, so I didn't get my reactions out in time, and also I saw the ban list because it was spoiled mostly because of a lot of discords I'm in. Now, this ban list definitely changes a lot of how we're going to be playing for the next few months up until Duelist Nexus into the World format along into the Megatons season. This also brings possibilities of future hits as well, as a few cards did dodge the ban list. And let's get started with the Forbidden section. First off, we have Cyberstein. One of the very first Sojin Jump Championship prize cards is now re-forbidden, and honestly, this card it was in a ton of build-a-board decks, and it's a machine, so it's searchable by Super Heavy Samurais with Cleafort Genius. This was a card that you'd be able to be searched from the deck or sent to the graveyard with Sprite Sprint and revived with Cross Sheep later on. Along, it could create many different FTKs. So this card alone had the potential of creating so many FTKs it wasn't even funny. This card also allowed decks to summon out a free Neterio Exterio at the cost of 5,000 life points by allowing you to actually just being able to just summon out a negate for free. Because we are in a very, very solid state of the game where life points are just another reprint or another resource. And this is one of the main cards that Cyberstein actually summoned. After that, we have number 89, Diabolosis, the Mind Hacker. This card was ran in Kashtira as a prominent part of the deck, being able to banish multiple parts of their resources from your opponent face down where they couldn't interact with it. Removing this card makes it where it's easier to combat Kashtira because they don't have the ability to multi-zone lock you by just going in and using its effective banish card from your opponent's extra deck for free knowledge and banishing at least I've seen up to 18 cards, which is very powerful in my opinion. Next up, we have Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow. This card is a Link 1, and most Link 1s are forbidden. As we go back through the history with Link 1s, because there's quite a bit of them, this is one of the newer Link 1s to be added to the list, joining Nightmare Mermaid, Train Kids Meow Meow Mew, Guard Dragon LP, and Link Cross. Also, Thunder Dragon Colossus being a honorary Link 1. This card started many people's replay FTK decks with Super Heavy Samurais. This card alone definitely hurts the consistency a little of Super Heavy Samurais, but it gets rid of the part of if you have no spells or trap cards in your graveyard, discard one monster. Then you target a Super Heavy Samurai monster in your graveyard, special summon it to your zone this card points to in defense position, so you're summoning back out your Soul Piercer or whatever you need to get back. It doesn't negate the effects, and it just says, I'm just going to summon this out. So you can use the effect of whatever you summoned, equip it to it, and probably using the arms to send this and that to summon whatever you need. Next up, Appointer of the Red Lotus. Appointer of the Red Lotus is a card that you just pay 2,000, look at your opponent's hand and rip one out. It's a Forceful Sentry. It is just a card that says, I get free knowledge and I rip a card out of your opponent and your hand. So this card is joining things like Trap Dust Shoot and Forceful Sentry to the Forbidden section where it belongs. And to win the argument, Branded Expulsion or Branded Separation, as in the OCG, Branded Expulsion is now forbidden. Gee, I love being on the winning end of this argument with many, many people, and it's very amazing. This card not only allowed you to get resources back to your field, it also summoned out things that didn't allow your opponent to special summon, like Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, any barrier statue you wanted, Ito Ito is a nightmare card, is a insane card, and just so many other cards that just says you cannot special summon. So with this card gone, it now opens up what Branded can actually do instead of focusing around one card. Now on to the limited section. This is a section that I'm very, very happy about because we have Blaster Dragon Rulers of Inferno coming back to 1. This card has been forbidden since 2015, I think it is. Or was it 2014? It's one of the 2 years. I think it's 2014. Because, yeah, Dragon Rulers. Nice to see another back. Help support the Fire Duels pack with nostalgia. And honestly, this is one of my favorite Dragon Rulers. People might think it's Redox, but it's actually Blaster. I really love this card. It's very, very cool, and I really love the aesthetic of it. Now, only if we can get Tidal and Redox back next. Probably in another 3 years. After that, we have Mathmech Circular. It allowed you to do your combo every single turn as long as you can get it to it. And now with it being at 1, it is less likely to recur. So after 1 Bestial, DD Crow, or Call by the Grave, this card is done. Unless if I'm missing something that could bring it back. But having this card being limited definitely hurts the power of Mathmech and also stops it being an engine in Cyber's decks like Salamangreat. It's no longer Salamangreat Circular for a reason. After that, I think it's a long over hit, but also it's one of the things that is like, I'd rather have it go to 2 first. But Cyframe Gear Gamma finally taking the bullets and going down to limited. This card is one of the better hand traps because it negates an additional 1 hand trap. 1 monster effect of your choosing if you have no monsters on your field. Then you can go into Cell Synchro Stardust. Then you can reborn it and go into Baronne de Fleur, making it where you are immune to things like Nibiru, so you can get around 2 hand traps for the price of 1. And Gamma Wars are going to be over now because it's going to be a 1-of that no one's going to run. After that, another card I'm excited for is Denlong, First of the Yang Zing. This card is one of my favorite cards from way back when. This is a very powerful synchro monster in the right hands, but honestly, with how today's world is, I don't think this card might see play for a little bit. It's going to see play in Sword Soul because they can make it easily with Adahara and Moye. Or Taie. Or if you have both, you can go into Chaofeng for free. So that's one of the wonderful things about that. This card gets you to Pillars of the Yang Zing, 9 Pillars of the Yang Zing. And you can now theoretically run Zephyra Yang Zing again because this card is now legal, which I am ecstatic to try again. After that, we have Kashtira Ariseheart, the big bad boss monster of Kashtira. This card being put to 1 is one of the things that is pretty much a good hit. Being able to put this card down to 1 definitely stops the double end board of Kashtira Ariseheart. I'm definitely annoyed at that. And now I only have to deal with 1. It still doesn't hurt a lot of decks that it was running it as an engine because you only need 1. But honestly, this card going down to 1 was the right decision. Now, only if we can get Fenrir hit, that would be a good idea. After that, one that kind of made me sad and annoyed was Purely Delicious Memory. This card going down to 1 within the span of, it's been about 5 months since the card's released. And honestly, Purely isn't one of the highest rated decks in the format. It's like the top 4, top 5. But it is one thing to definitely take a look at and think that, oh yeah, down the line it's going to get definitely worse. And finally, for the limited section, we have Naturia Sacred Tree. This card is absolutely brilliant. Honestly, I'm glad that it's finally at 1 because it went from, oh, well, we're never going to be sending this as many times as we can to the graveyard, right? To, we're going to send this as much as we can to get so much advantage. So it went from a, oh, this is a good card to, oh, it's a hard once per turn now. Unless if we can recycle it. Absolutely fine. We're going to be going on to the semi-limits now. The first card on that was Herald of the Orange Light. Herald of Orange Light went to 1 because of Ishizu Tearlaments, but now it is at 2 again. And this card coming back to 2 definitely helps out a lot of decks, like Madolche, which I honestly really like. It's technically good in Ishizu Tearlament still, or Tearlament pile, because that is still a deck running around, and they got the best support ever with this card coming back to 2, along with a couple other cards coming off the list, so they're doing well. After that, we have Kashtira Unicorn. This card is definitely one of the cards that did cause a little problems being able to get to your opponent's extra deck and funnel out some of their stuff, but hitting the consistency slightly while hitting their big boss monster was a good idea, but I think they could have done a little bit more to the deck. Maybe like Dimension Shifter to 1 or 0, because in my opinion that hand trap is a little bit toxic for my taste. The confusing and laughable hit was Lightning Storm going down to 2. Sure, I guess this card is pretty much to go against what they're coming out soon with. Where have I seen this before when they hit something to push something? Ah, yes, multiple formats ago when they unlimited skill train to push Adventurer. And then we have this going down to 2. It's probably because of Labyrinth getting its reprint, Sky Strikers getting the cards taking off, and more support coming, along with a few other things here and there. But honestly, this going to 2 is very laughable, and I was only running 2 for the most part. And yeah, that's really all. Next up, we have Spring of the Mist Rune, or Runic Fountain. Runic Fountain is definitely a card that definitely should have went down to 1, even though that would kill the deck and kill all chances of it getting reprinted in the Megatins. But honestly, since it's being in the Megatins, this card definitely is going to be at 2 until the next list. And speaking about cards going to 2 that are very, very draw heavy, Sky Striker, Mobilizing Gauge. Sky Strikers aren't really doing much, so might as well give them this. Sure, it allows them to activate Search, Draw twice, but there's a lot of factors leading up against Sky Striker right now, and in my opinion, definitely a deck that you should watch out for the future. And finally, for the last time I limited, we have Sprite Starter. Sprite Starter, I guess? Sprite really hasn't been doing much, but hey, it's been 4 consecutive lists, and James, or Hakuna, my data, he's been suffering with hit after hit after hit. Ronin Totem, Sprite Elf, Starter now. He cannot catch a break, and honestly, this is another card from Power of the Elements that is now hit, and that makes 7 total cards from that set are now on the Forbidden Limited list, and that is crazy. And now on to the last card, actually, I've almost forgot. This card's going to 3, Lureless Recital Starling. This card's been at 2 for forever, and now it's finally at 3, and honestly, it's not going to do anything because we don't have Simorgh, Bird of Sovereignty. The Link 3, that definitely pushed that deck a little too far. But honestly, with Barrier Statue Band, Smorg can come back. Literally, this Recital Starling going to 3 really doesn't change much because it was mostly a 2 of anyways, and no one plays this deck anymore, so there was no point of having it on the list. Now the rest of the cards, we have Blackwing Steam the Cloak. Yeah, Hulk is banned, might as well. I have nothing to say on this. This card is absolutely fine. It helps the Blackwing deck, but other than, I don't know. Next up, we have Gen X LA Birdman. Now, only if we can get Divine Wind of the Mist Valley back up to 3, then definitely I would play Harpy Lady again, because I could play Gen X Harpy Lady, and that was a very fun deck, even though it was a slightly heavy FTK deck. But honestly, Birdman to 3 doesn't do much. Cool is the level 3 machine extender, but honestly, nowadays, there are way better extenders than this thing. Samsara Lotus, this card was in an FTK that involved Topological Bomber Dragon and Trickstar Black Cat. I think that's the name of it. But Samsara Lotus is just a card that, honestly, it's not going to do much. And to be honest, I think that FTK resolved with Firewall Dragon, and then Firewall Dragon's also errated, so there's that. The one that took me by a little surprise was Spiral Quick Fix. This deck is almost full powered. No, Master Plan still banned, luckily. But honestly, Spirals without Master Plan isn't that good, and this card going to 3 definitely doesn't matter. Now that I say that, it's going to take a top here and there. And I'm probably going to lose to it somehow. Anyways, we have Draco Face-Off. I've been wanting this card to come back forever, and it's finally back. And also with the new Zark support, I could definitely say it's going to be fun. And I just got my Zarks in the mail, so I'm ready for that whole mistake to happen. And the final card that's on this whole entire Forbidden Limited list was Sky Striker Mecha Modules Multi-Roll. This card was a 2 of, right? 1 of? I honestly don't remember. It was at 1 for so long that I don't remember what it was before what is now. And honestly, yeah, give Sky Strikers as much as they can. Engage could stay at 2 forever, then I wouldn't even care. Putting it 3 would be a bad idea, but you would have to hit drones for that. So yeah, there's that. Now, for some of the cards that I definitely want to talk about that should have been on this list is definitely Orcus Harper. This card should have definitely came off this list because honestly, with how things have been, Salamangreat's getting support in Duels of Explosions, or Duels of the Volcano, Fiery the Volcano Explosion, whatever you want to call it. Orcus Harper is just sitting here, and we have a few other cards that could definitely come back by scrolling through the limited section. Orcus Harper has just been sitting there rotting away for the past 3 years, all because, hey, Orcus are bad, even though that they see some tops, but honestly now, yeah. Next list we'll probably see Glow Bulb coming back to 1, because this card is that good, and we're getting Revolution Synchron, which is a better, and quote-unquote better, Glow Bulb. And honestly, the only other card that I could see coming back off the list that's currently on it, I have no clue, probably Plush Fire to 1, and that's really it. So those 3 cards are my honorable mentions of I wish they were here. Honestly, I want to know what you guys think about this ban list and what all that there is that you think should have been there that aren't. But tell me what your favorite hits were from this list and the favorite releases. But anyways, I've been Bolt Spider. See you guys in the next video, and goodbye.